We have been, during the month, we have been covering the topic of tafsir, but we will make just a little adjustment today, inshallah, to ensure that everyone gets what we need. So, okay, the sound is going, the sound is back. Okay, good, alhamdulillah. So let's remember again and mention the name of Allah, Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala Muhammad. And we are in the final days of this blessed month of Jum'ah. We're in the final nights, and we have been seeking Laylatul Qadr, and we've covered that. We've covered Laylatul Qadr, so we won't go over that today. We're actually going to cover Eid today. So we're not going to do tafsir today. We're going to do Eid. We're going to go over Eid again. Some of the procedures and the how-to for Eid. It is the plan and the desire, inshallah, this year, in that we do still have some restrictions upon us as a world, not just as a city, but as a world with the reality of public gathering and coming together in person. And it is our intention, inshallah, to be together on the day of Eid, either Wednesday or Thursday, the 13th or the 14th, or 12th or 13th, depending on which day you started. And that's not really the focus here, and to be praying together. But if weather does not permit, or the particular masjid that you're at is not facilitating an in-person Salatul Eid, it's important that we review the how-to of praying Salatul Eid on our own, with our families at home, so that we're ready to perform that duty and that obligation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even before the Salatul Eid, what comes or that's connected with the conclusion of the month of Ramadan is as Zakatul Fitr. Zakatul Fitr or Sadaqatul Fitr, referred to in both ways, the Sadaqah of Fitr, of the breaking with Ramadan, with the breaking of the fast, and Zakatul Fitr, the alms that's due or that's given with the breaking of the fast. E-tax too, we call it as well, but I have said that I want us to shift away from, zakat is not a tax. Tax is what Uncle Sam puts on you, right? Uncle Sambo. But zakat is a purification. It's a thing that purifies us. Sadaqah is a thing that grows us and increases us. So it's not a tax as we should see taxes, income taxes are like that. Okay, so Sadaqatul Fitr and Zakatul Fitr is the first of the things that we should be aware of and conscious of as we're concluding the month of Ramadan. And we mentioned, and we should know, that the hukum, the ruling regarding Zakatul Fitr, regarding Sadaqatul Fitr is wajib. It's an obligation. It's an obligation upon the Muslims. And which Muslims in particular is Zakatul Fitr, Sadaqatul Fitr? Who is it obligatory upon? Zakatul Fitr is obligatory upon every Muslim, male or female, or male and female, adult and adolescent, free or captive. Again, let's go over those categories. Zakatul Fitr is obligatory upon every Muslim, male and female, old and young, free and captive. And these are the categories that the Sahaba clarified that the Prophet ﷺ instructed, obligated all of these categories to give something of Zakatul Fitr. And within the time of the Prophet ﷺ, we know that the Zakatul Fitr, Sadaqatul Fitr was given in grain or foodstuffs. 2 mud. Mud is a calculation that comes to around 2 kilos. 2 kilos, maybe a little more over 2 kilos. And they would all be responsible for giving that amount, or dates, of this particular kilian, 2 kilos, for my Zakatul Fitr for each of those categories. And it has a purpose. And before we get more into the amount and what's given, the purpose of it. And this is why it's important that we should really be moving to pay Zakatul Fitr, to give Zakatul Fitr. And we have this particular hadith from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. And Ibn Abbas is a special Sahaba. You know, we mentioned, and if we don't know the biographies of these particular Sahaba, but Ibn Abbas, number one, he's the cousin of the Prophet. That's just special because he's related to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from his uncle Abbas. But he was one of the jurists. He was one of the jurists of the Sahaba, in that he was very keen to be aware of the jurisprudence, the fiqh of the Prophet ﷺ in his way. And so when we see his teachings, oftentimes you get jurisprudence like we get from this particular hadith. But Ibn Abbas, he reported that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ obligated Zakatul Fitr as purification of the fasting person. So let's start at the beginning of this. قال فرض رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الزكاة الفطر. The part of farada. Again, it's ruling. This is an obligatory thing on me. This is something that I should see connected with my Ramadan and connected with my fasting. Rasulullah farada Rasulullah zakatul fitr taharatan lisaimi min al-laghwi wa rafathi. That the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he obligated zakatul fitr as a purification of the fasting person from vain talk and misbehavior. So that's the first thing to understand. Is this just for me to be given some money? No, it is to purify me if I engaged in any vain talk, or if I did any, if I misbehave. And that might seem small, but I probably did it, right? I probably engaged in some vain talk. I probably engaged in some misbehavior during the month of Ramadan, and Zakatul Fitr purifies my fast from that. And also, لِتُعْمَةَ الْمَسَاكِينَ, and so that it is food, so that it can feed, food for the poor. Food for the poor, okay? So it has two purposes: Zakatul Fitr, purification from vain talk and misbehavior, and so it'll be food for the poor. And now this second part, food for the poor, provisions for the poor. So I said initially they were giving dates, they were giving grain, rice, barley, stuff like that. And you can still do that. If you want to weigh out 2 kilos and give that. Somebody might look at you crazy, but alhamdulillah, you are reviving and giving life to the sunnah, and they can cook their rice with their lamb or with their leg quarters or whatever, right? Alhamdulillah. And that's okay. But it is also agreed upon that can also be given in the monetary equivalent. The monetary equivalent to that is, and the point is, it would feed that person for Eid. So they have some food to celebrate Eid. And so $10 is what it is in Atlanta, all of the masajid in our particular association and collective, $10 a person. And that should be sufficient to feed a person a meal in Atlanta or in your city, right? Now you may be in a city where the expenses are a little lower, it might be $8. Or you may be in a city where it's a little higher, it might be $12 or something like that. But you should understand that when you see these dollar amounts presented to you by your masjid or whatever, it's the equivalent of what that foodstuffs would be like that, okay? So, we also have the example from the Sahaba that from our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as this hadith says here, whoever pays it, this is the same hadith from Ibn Abbas, whoever pays it before the Eid prayer is accepted as zakat. Whoever prays it after Eid prayer, it is part of voluntary charity. So this is clarifying Zakatul Fitr. That's the specific thing that we're talking about. Should be paid before Salatul Eid. It should be paid before Salatul Eid, and I get my check, I get my credit that I have paid my Zakatul Eid. If I do it after Zakatul Eid, that's just sadaqah, right? Not sadaqatul fitr. It's just sadaqah that I've given some sadaqah and you get reward for that. But the point is to fulfill Zakatul Fitr, it should be paid prior to Eid Salat. And what I was leading into saying is that we have from the model of the Sahaba, even days before the Eid prayer, like we're in now, 3-4 days before Eid, I can already, when we have that within the model, start paying your Zakatul Fitr now. Indefinitely, it must be paid before Eid Salat. And so, to clarify, myself, I'm paying 10 for me. I'm paying 10 for my spouse. If I'm married, I'm head of the household. 10 for me, 10 for my spouse, 10 for my children, or any other folks that's under my care. That's my obligation. My wife is also my spouse, head of household. The spouse of the head of household is also encouraged to pay for themselves, and then the children should be encouraged. The children should be encouraged. The children might not have no money, right? But if they do have, you gave them allowance or something like that, or maybe you'll even just give to them so that they can give and get in the process and understanding of this obligation upon them is a good thing too, like that. So myself and anyone under my charge. Someone asked a good question the other day. Well, if my children are my dependent, but they don't live with me, do I still pay on their behalf? The understanding is that it's folks, y'all in the same house. You're in the same household. So you file your children on your taxes or whatever, but they live in West Virginia for college or something like that. It's particularly those who are under your charge in your home, and Allah knows best. So let us ensure that we're fulfilling our Zakatul Fitr, our Sadaqatul Fitr for Eid. And then the second half of that, that you should know, is that those funds, if you are not giving it directly to a person, which you can give it directly to a person, but in the modern times, it's given to one dispensary like your masjid, and your masjid dispenses it on your behalf. The point that I want to make here is that it's dispensed. That money is given out to those who request it, those who are in need. For Atlanta Masjid anyway, I don't want to speak ahead of the treasurer, but it'll be... So stay tuned for that, when we'll dispense that. I don't want to get ahead of the treasurer, but it will be dispensed. And you can, if you know that you have a need now, you can send a message. But the point is, that's not, no big, you don't have to send no tax returns and all of that. This is the obligation for it to be dispensed. And if you feel that you qualify, request it. And Bismillah, that is for you. And that's the second half of the Eid, of what we should be prepared and doing for Eid, whether we in person or not in person. That is part of our obligation for Eid, inshallah. Now let's get to the Eid prayer. Let's get to the Eid prayer. And as we said, it is the intention, it's our intention to be together for this coming Eid. All of the masajid in the metro Atlanta anyway, inshallah, will have some form of in-person Eid prayer with physical distancing. I have to keep mentioning that. We're not out of the woods. And I know y'all say, well, okay, we know, but I have to mention it because we'll be there hugging and playing patty cake, and then it'll be a problem, right? So we want to make sure that we're reminding of that. But we do have the desire to do in person. If we're not in person, and we should know how to do this anyway, Eid is a special occasion. We should be prepared and know that this is a special occasion. We've seen the trend, and I like the trend. A lot more Ramadan decorations this year. That's good. Don't get the tree, but Ramadan decorations and decorating our home so that we feel the festivities and we feel a difference from the time that we were in before Ramadan to this time. So that's a good thing. I support that. Right? And I think it's a positive, and particularly for our Muslim children and for us too, that we're getting in the spirit of Eid, of Ramadan. Similarly for Eid, as we have one particular tradition from the Prophet ﷺ that actually is a proof of having festivities and music. When folks want to hear about y'all haram because y'all got music at Eid, there actually is a proof of the permissibility of having music and festivities, and it is the particular tribe, and I We do know that they were African, and they were playing their drums, they were playing their duff, and they were doing a performance, is basically what they were doing. They were on masjid grounds, they were doing a performance, and one of the Sahaba, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, in this particular tradition, felt, and as I read it, he thought that it may be inappropriate to do this in the presence of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's how I read it, this particular hadith, and you can go look it up. He thought that it may be inappropriate to have this particular performance in the presence of the Prophet, and so he chided the artist, right? How dare y'all do this in the presence of the Prophet? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam corrected him and gave him language of, this is a celebration, this is our day of celebration, and this is how we're celebrating. And he recognized the culture in the language of this particular translation, or this particular narration. He said that's their culture. That's the culture of these people. You know, they play drums and they get down, you know, on Eid, and respect and allow them to have their cultural expression. The Prophet allowing that cultural expression of those Africans, of them black folks, on Eid, in the masjid area, in his presence, right? So again, I say that was for music and cultural expression on Eid. But festivities is what I want to point out. That was really why I'm giving you this particular tradition, is that there too, and in the language that the Prophet said, that this is a day of eating and drinking and being festive. That's what Eid is. So we should be moving our spirit to understand that this is going to be festive. We're going to have some fun. You know, my children, you know, they've been on me every day. And they're probably listening now, and now they're going to tease me because I mentioned them in Talim. Every day, when are we going Eid shopping? And I don't have, we got to go Eid shopping. We're going to get some brand new clothes and some candy that's going to tear up their teeth. And, you know, and all bean pie or whatever else, you know, that you eat on Eid. Do all of those things, because this is a day of festivity. This is a day of celebration. It is our fitr. It is our fitr. It's the conclusion. It's the break of this fast, and we should celebrate. So that's number one, of us getting in the mind of this celebration. When Eid day comes, in particular, there are sunan. There are recommended acts that we should do on the day of Eid. Of the first of those recommended acts that we should do on Eid is I should eat breakfast. I should eat breakfast. And I'm saying breakfast, I'm not saying suhoor, because suhoor is the pre-dawn meal for fasting. The Prophet ﷺ ate breakfast on Eid day. He ate 3 dates or something like that. But the point is that I am distinguishing and I'm clarifying that this is not a fasting day. Eid, as we know, is a day that is forbidden. Mamnu'a, it's haram. I can't fast on Eid. I can't make up no fast. I can't be a zealot and, you know, start my 6 days of Shawwal. No, you can't do that. It's a day of celebration. It's a holiday. So I should eat breakfast on the day of Eid. Before going to Eid prayer, I should make ghusl. I should make ghusl. And what's ghusl? Ghusl is the purificatory bath. And I'm using that fancy language because it's not just a bath. It's different from a bath. It's different from a shower. In that it's with niyyah. It's with intention. That's what distinguishes ghusl from just bathing in general, right? So I'm making ghusl. I make ghusl. I make my niyyah. I perform ghusl as we know how to perform ghusl. Niyyah. All of the skin on my body should get wet. All of the hair on my body should get wet. Women know you just need to get to the roots. You don't have to submerge your head in the water. Sisters know that, how to make ghusl. And then washing the right side 3 times, washing the left side, entirety of the body 3 times. And also wudu. We have from some of the Sahabas that they would perform wudu with their ghusl. But if I just did the full body and right side, left side like that, that would be sufficient. I perform wudu. I mean, it makes you feel a little bit more fulfilled personally. But I'm performing ghusl on the day of Eid. That's one of the days that I should perform ghusl in particular. And I should, if I'm going to be at home or if I'm coming to the masjid or wherever the Salatul Eid is going to be, I should wear excellent garments. new garments if I can. New garments if I can, but it should be something beautiful. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had a shawl from Yemen that he wore for Eid Day, and it was like, it was his special shawl. He would floss with it. His Yemeni shawl. That's what he would wear for Eid. So he had something that was distinct that he would wear from the other time. So Eid, we should do the same thing. Get something. I shouldn't just be in my pajamas. I shouldn't be in my work clothes. It's Eid. This is holiday, right? This is a holy day. So I should have something more. I got Brother James in the Musala. So Brother James, you got to put on your suit, right? That's our mortician. But I'm not just wearing my regular clothes. I have something special for Eid Day. If I'm at the masjid or if I'm at home. And remember, we're in the middle of, we intend to be together, but inshallah, if we're at home, still do that. Still dress up. And then we have the azkar. We have the takbirat, or the takbir, we usually call it, right? Where we make that takbir, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. You all know the takbir, right? And you know it's Eid when you hear that. And we should understand that it has connection to Quran. Allah says, La yuridu bikum al-usr, yuridu bikum al-yusr, wali tukmilu al-iddah, wali tukabbiru Allah ala ma hadakum. That Allah, He does not want difficulty upon you. He wants ease and not difficulty. He wants you to complete the number of days, talking about fasting, and to magnify Allah to what He has guided you to. And this is connected with Eid as well, that we do this magnification, Allahu Akbar, on the day of Eid. And so there are different formulas of doing the Eid magnification, but this is part of what we should do on the day of Eid. And the time for that usually begins from Maghrib on the last day of fasting until right before Eid prayer. Some writings may say until dawn, but we usually pray Eid prayer a little bit after that. So up until the Eid prayer is the time. And if I'm doing it to myself, if I'm doing it in my home, we're here at the masjid or wherever, I'm doing that magnification of Allah. And then there is some extra language on that, prayers upon the Prophet, upon his Sahaba, upon his wives. But all of this is part of the Eid Takbir, the magnification that we should do. And we'll post a listing of that so you'll know, a way to say that, inshallah. Okay? And then the Eid prayer. Here we go. Remember last year, everybody was all nervous. I'm going to have to pray Eid prayer in my house by myself. And you did it, and it wasn't no thing, right? Alhamdulillah. And now you know how to do it. And if I have to do it again this year, it's not going to be no thing. But inshallah, we'll be able to be together to make it. But if I do pray it by myself, or with my family, and I should know how to do it anyway. Sometimes you come to Eid prayer late, and you have to do another Jamaat, and what if they push you up there, brother? Or, it's a group of sisters, and you have to get pushed up there, sisters, to lead the group of sisters in Eid prayer. We should know how to do these things. So Eid Salatul Eid consists of how many rak'ah? 50 points. Somebody answer in your house. How many rak'ahs is Salatul Eid? Salatul Eid it consists of 2 rak'ats, 2 units. 2 rak'ats, 2 units. Okay? And it begins with niyyah, as all of our actions, of course, should be specified and should be clarified with niyyah to distinguish this act from any other act. This is in Sunnah, this is in Fajr, 2 rak'ats, this is Salatul Eid. So, Allah, I intend to make Salatul Eid. And that intention should be and can be silent. That's not something that has to be verbalized outside or out loud. Salatul Eid, make my niyyah. 2 rak'ah. Of course, I know I'm in a clean area, facing the Qibla, all of that. I got my fancy clothes on and my Egyptian musk. I saw Brother Thabit, and Thabit hooked me up, and I'm smelling good, right, and ready to go for Salatul Eid. And then 2 rak'ah. The Eid Salat is different from other prayer in that there is an increase of the takbirat. there is an increase of the magnifications of Allah. So in the first rak'ah, I have takbir, tahiyatul, the opening takbir, the Allahu Akbar, the beginning, right? So, Allahu Akbar. I'm beginning. That's the first takbir, the opening takbir. And then in the first rak'ah, there is following 7 takbirat. Now, 7 takbirat in the first rak'ah. Let me make a few distinctions here. You may look it up and you may Google how many takbirs are in the first rak'ah. Imam Abu Hanifa poses a different amount than Imam Malik and Imam Shafi'i. What I am giving you here is and I want to give you this language in particular. It's the way that I studied it in the university, but it is how Imam Shafi'i compiled it from the Sunnah of the Prophet. I want to make that very clear. You ain't doing it how Imam Shafi'i did it. You're doing how Imam Shafi'i, Muhammad Idris al-Shafi'i, compiled it from the model of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it's how our community been doing it for the longest time, meaning the association of students of Imam Mu'tadi Muhammad rahimahullah, like this. Now, there was, and I have to make these clarifications, so y'all be with me, there was a publication that was put out from someone in our community, and they made an error. They made an error in the video, and they did the opposite. They did 5 in the first and 7 in the second. There's no tradition from the Prophet that exemplifies like that. So we can't connect that to the Imam and say that he made some fatwa that that's the way to do it. No, it was just an error, right? And so from the model, and even what we have from Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Malik, and those variations, it is from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So any way that it's done has to be from the model of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Imam Shafi'i was very keen to ensure that what he publicized was authentic and from the Prophet. So first, takbir, Allahu Akbar, and then 7. And with each of those 7, I raise my hands. The Imam raises his hands and the followers raise their hands as well. So opening, Allahu Akbar. Here. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Right? Until I complete 7. And that's all before the recitation. All before Qira'ah. All before Al-Fatiha and the second surah. All right? So that's the first opening takbir. And then 7. And then Al-Fatiha and any other surah that's easy from Quran. You will read from the hadith and from the tradition of the Prophet that he would perform or he would recite after Al-Fatiha Suratul A'la, Sabbih Isma Rabbika Al-A'la, and Ghashiyah in the second rak'ah. But it's whatever is easy for you. Al-Fatiha and a second surah, whatever is easy. Point is, first rak'ah, first opening takbir, and then 7 takbirs, and then recitation, Al-Fatiha, and whatever easy. In the second rak'ah, you again, Sami Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana wa lakal hamd, and then Allahu Akbar, opening takbir. After I raise, I am doing another takbir, Allahu Akbar, and then 5, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, 5, raising the hands each time. The Imam is raising his hand. The followers are raising their hands. And that's before Surah Al-Fatiha and followed by Al-Ghashiyah or whatever is easy from Quran. So second rak'ah, raising up from ruku, Allahu Akbar, takbir, and then 5, followed by 5, like that, Al-Fatiha, and whatever is easy from Quran. And then you complete Salat, the rak'ah as you would normally complete the rak'ah. There is no adhan and there is no iqamah for Salatul Eid. There is no adhan and no iqamah. You got 4 minutes for Salatul Eid. So you're making your intention, and it'll be some type of announcement that Eid is it's time for Eid prayer, but there is no adhan and there is no iqamah. But again, what am I doing? I'm making ghusl. I'm wearing my nice clothes. I'm getting, putting my drip on, my Eid drip, suited and booted, fly and like we do, I'm perfuming myself as well. I forgot about that one. Wearing nice scent. Sisters, that's on you if you wear perfume or whatever. Don't get me in no argument with your husband. But perfuming ourselves is within the sunnah of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dressing nice, and then my intention for Eid prayer, 2 rak'ah, first rak'ah, the opening takbir, and followed by 7 at Fatiha and whatever is easy, recitation. Second rak'ah, the takbir again, and then 5 takbirat and Surah Al-Fatiha and whatever is easy from Quran. And I am completing both of those rak'ah as I would, ruku, sajda, and all of that, as I would normally pray 2 rak'ahs of prayer. The only difference is adding those extra takbirat. And we ask that Allah accept this. But we want to, again, dear Muslims, dear believers, let us get into the mind that this is our holiday. This is a special time. This is something different than what is normal. And then we celebrate. Then we have fun. And I go and like I said, eat some barbecue chicken and tandoori, whatever you eat, what you'll eat, right? Or tacos, whatever. But do something to celebrate and have festivities on this day, wishing each other some type of festive greeting. We would have from the Sahaba, Kulli aam wa anta bi khair. May all of your years and you be in goodness. We do have that within the model of the Prophet and the Sahaba, wishing each other a special greeting on Eid. That's good, and we should do that. Again, to distinguish and to feel the festivities within this particular time. So stay tuned. Inshallah, we intend to be in person. But if we are required because of rain or inclement weather, and I have to do it again by myself, then you have this. Eid khutbah is a whole nother topic, whole nother conversation that comes after. But we will, and it's that is a voluntary act. The Eid khutbah is a voluntary act. I want to go over the obligatory act, so that's why we're just going with the Eid prayer today, and then we'll have time. We can go over the khutbah Eid, the Eid khutbah a little bit later. But we ask that Allah accept our deeds that are done sincerely for His sake alone, that He accept our fasting, He accept our standing, He accept our tawbah and our dua in this blessed month. May Allah accept all that we do. Again, we extend to you Ramadan Mubarak. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.